Get ready to get inspired. This is the Go for the Goldy podcast.
Hello, it's Thursday, April 22nd, 2020, and welcome to a bonus Thursday edition of the Go for the Goldy podcast. Joining me today from Florida is a fellow on-run crew member, OCR athlete, and recent National Ninja League World Championship qualifier, Steph Borowiec. Steph, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, welcome. Looks like you're in a skyscraper over there.
Yeah, looks can be deceiving, so I might not have a skyscraper behind me. You guys will never know.
Well, I'm digging it. And right off the bat, I just have to say I'm really appreciative of you coming on the show because you are an official, verified badass, I have to tell you.
Thank you.
So why do I say that? I did the intro, but let's have you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about, what you do, who you are, and we'll start there.
Sure. So a lot of people know that me as both someone who's done OCR and Ninja. I think something that some people don't know is I'm actually a manager for one of the big four accounting firms, Deloitte. So in my day-to-day, I work on a lot of different audit analytics. And so by chance, I kind of just happened into OCR a couple of years ago. I didn't do any athletics in college or anything. So I graduated from NYU in 2014. So no sports or anything. I kind of fell off the wagon when I started work full time. So I wasn't really exercising, wasn't eating right or anything. And then in 2018, or actually 2017, I started this kickboxing regimen type thing, which kind of led me into OCR, which also led me into Ninja. And that's where I'm at now. I basically do analytics by day, Ninja by night, and weekends. So it's
That's
awesome.
wild. I guess that makes sense, Ninja by night, because not many day ninjas.
Yeah.
Right? That's a pretty cool story. So right off the bat, I just learned, and for those listening, I don't really like to have too in-depth conversations with people before we get on the show because I like to learn, with you as you watch. So that's a bit of information that right off the bat strikes me. So you haven't been like a lifelong, obstacle course racer or ninja or anything like this. Was 4 years ago you said you got into this?
Right. Yeah, not at all. So in fact, at the start of 2018, I went to a playground to try to go across the monkey bars there. I couldn't even make it to the second bar. So I could not even hang. I could not hold my body weight at the start of 2018.
Wow. That is really? I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second. Come on.
It's 100% true. And the funny thing was, so 2018 is really when I started training for obstacle course races. And my kickboxing, the place I did kickboxing, they had this 8 weeks to be obstacle course ready. And so that was really my gateway into OCR. And I remember one of the earlier sessions we did a Murph. And I remember being so excited that day, because again, this was the start of 2018 when I couldn't even...
I know what it is, but go ahead and explain to the people listening what a Murph is.
Oh, so the Murph is when you run a mile, and then I think you do 300 squats, 200 push-ups, is it? And then 100 pull-ups, and then another mile.
Yep.
It's been a while since I've done a Murph, so I think 2018 is the one that comes to mind, but I don't think I've done one since.
It's like a CrossFit term, right? Is that kind of
basically? Yeah. Yep. And a lot of people do it. I think Memorial Day, I want to say.
So it's a troop, right? Isn't it in honor of a troop or a troop
right?
Up with it or something
like
that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. And so I remember at the start of 2018, we did that as part of the training. And I went home and I was like, yeah, I did 100 pull-ups. But in reality, my pull-ups were just jumping up to the bar, getting my chin higher than the bar and coming down. So I was not even using any arm strength at all. But I still thought I did 100 pull-ups in that class, which I did 0.
Looking back at 0, but at the time, that was impressive.
It felt impressive.
I saw a show, I follow a lot of inspirational stuff on Instagram, and I saw that it was a guy, it was like an overweight guy, kind of doing what you were explaining, and it said, CrossFit's for everybody. There's modifications to any exercise that you can do, and you have to start somewhere. Not everyone starts your Exhibit A with you. Not everyone starts, just going to the national championships or world championships. you got to start with, jumping up and just getting your chin over the bar, and however that you do that, that's the starting point. But what my goal is, and I say this in every show, but I always like to kind of keep in mind the reason for this whole thing I got going is to be motivational, to inspire people, whatever they may do, to find something that they're passionate about or may want to try out, and talk to people who remember being in those shoes, and like be the shining light of an example of what's possible. And 4 years is not a lot of time. 4 years ago was, like you said, 2017. I mean, that seems like yesterday. So as far as okay, so you did the Murph, right? And then I want to kind of have you walk us through your journey, kind of like step by step, your path to where you are now.
Sure. So I guess starting with why I chose kickboxing, because I never had any boxing experience or anything before, but there was, I think, like a week free of trying things out and seeing how it was. I kept walking by it. And so I saw the signs, and finally one day I was like, okay, I should just try it, see what it's all about. It's like on my way home from work. So I tried it. I really liked it, really liked the trainers there. They were really encouraging and supportive of beginners. And I feel like something that prevents a lot of people from trying new things is because you're afraid of being judged, or that they're not going to, be kind to you, or you're going to feel like you are the worst and everyone's so good. But it didn't really feel like that at all. Like, there were people from day one in class who I was like, wow, like they are so good at this kickboxing. They're like doing everything. They look super strong. And so I like aspired to be them. And so I really liked that aspect. And so I just want to encourage anyone, like if you're even hesitant to do something fitness related, don't, because we all were there doubting ourselves and starting off, and everyone's prepared to help. So that was kind of where I was at in 2017. I tried it out. I started liking it. It started becoming a regular habit. I still felt out of shape, or I'm pretty sure I was still out of shape by the end of 2017, but I was working toward it, doing the whole kickboxing thing. And then 2018, I think that February is when we started the training for obstacle course racing. And so even then, I was still trying to navigate the fitness journey. I was only doing kickboxing. I wasn't going to a gym or anything. Did the first obstacle course race in April, realized I had no upper body strength by that point. And then something just really inspired me. I really liked the challenge of trying to be able to do those obstacles, because I looked at all the women doing them. I was like, wow, like they're badasses. Like, I want to be like them. That's so cool. Like, you usually just see guys at the gym doing pull-ups or doing like the strength stuff, and I think it's so awesome when you go in and you actually see some women doing it. I think a lot of guys are shocked when they see a woman up there cranking out pull-ups. So that April is when I started going to the gym more, and I actually got a membership for an actual gym shortly after that, May, and they had monkey bars. And I swear, I think I was in the gym every day on the monkey bars. It was only 8 bars, but I found so many creative ways to use them. And it's so funny because after a couple months, I think it was so I started going there in May, maybe around July, August, the owner actually bought these cannonball grips, so a set of 6, just because they knew how much I was on the monkey bars. And I actually came to the gym one night and they were hanging up there. I was like, oh, this is awesome. And so it was really cool that they added that to the gym. And then that's really how my love of just going through and hanging from stuff really grew. And then, so by that point, that was July 2018, and that was when I did my first Spartan race. And then I ended up doing 8 Spartan races from that July through that December of 2018.
Whoa. Okay, so you were doing like 2 a month?
Yeah, so I was originally signed up for my first Spartan race in, I might mess up the months here, but I think it was the October Spartan Super, which was, that's about a 7 to 9 mile obstacle course race, and that was in Mountain Creek, New Jersey. So that was set to be my first Spartan race, but I had other people I knew doing the West Point Spartan Sprint, which was like a 5K, so like 3 to 4 miles race in July. So I ended up doing that, and so that shorter race was my very first one. I met some friends and everything, and they're like, okay, you should do Killington. So for anyone who doesn't really know anything about Spartan or about Killington,
which is me.
So Killington is like the Killington ski resort in Vermont.
Okay.
And so think, I forget if it's a single black diamond or double black diamond, but there's this like 1 mile really steep drop, and the Spartan Killington Beast, which is 13 miles, includes that 1 mile, but you're not going down. You're going up that. I'm pretty sure it's a double black diamond. Hopefully I'm not wrong, but it's very steep and it just lasts forever. And it is not for the faint of heart. And I was not training. I was not training for that. And so it was 13 miles. And that was, I think, 3 weeks after the one I did at West Point. And my friends convinced me to sign up. So I signed up and I did that 13-mile race with elevation. And I made it. I finished. I forget. I think it took me 7 hours to finish it. Yeah, 7 hours and 7 minutes to finish it.
Oh my God.
And I'm pretty sure I cried when I crossed the finish line, because at that point, that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. But it was so worth it.
So for a lot of people out there who aren't athletes, or see something like that and just say, I could never do that. You did it, and with not that crazy amount of training, right? I mean, you just said you weren't really prepared for 13-mile, but you just like jumping into a pool. You didn't dip your toes in. You just went head first. Let's go. So
yeah,
at that moment, I mean, how rewarding was it for you when you said you were crying? Was it like tears of joy? Were you in pain? Was it both? Was it just the overall emotion of everything? What was that like?
I think it was definitely both, but it was just really awesome knowing that, I achieved it, because there were a few, like I was seeing people had these training plans that were super extensive, like 30 days, 60 days. And I really kind of jam-packed all of that in the 3 weeks before. So the Stairmaster became my best friend the 3 weeks leading up to it. So I did a lot of elevation on the Stairmaster, but I definitely would not have like categorized myself as like a real athlete at that time. I mean, there's still some days that I still don't categorize myself as an athlete, but we won't get into that at the moment.
We're all there. That imposter syndrome is real. That imposter syndrome is very real.
Yeah. So at that point, I feel like I could have just been any person who just wanted to go out and do something and accomplish something. So I really feel like if someone wants to do something, just do it. Just go for it. The worst that can happen is you fail, but you don't know until you try and until you give it 100%. And yeah. I gave it 100% that day.
That's awesome. So, I mean, I'm actually been I've been getting into books over the past couple months, and one of the books that I'm just finishing up now is called The Confidence Gap, because, like you said, I think people's relationship with fear is overwhelmingly negative for the majority of the population, but understanding that fear is a necessary part of growth is a major part of this book. And acknowledging that fear, but understanding that being fearless isn't the absence of fear, it's managing that fear and moving forward with it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah, so it's because I have that issue too. I mean, I was just talking to Lauren yesterday on the show about this. I had a triathlon on Sunday, and I've done 1 million triathlons, and before every one, I'm still nervous as hell in my head. I'm like, I'm going to die in the lake. Here we go. This is it. But it's acknowledging that fear and moving forward. So you finished that race, and, it was just kind of like a weight off your back, right? Like you just accomplished this incredible feat. You're proud of your accomplishments. You're exhausted. You're surrounded by all these people. Like you said, a lot of women that, are just like inspiring to you. So then what? Then you're like, all right, what's the next one? Or like, what was that the moment where you were just like, all right, I'm all in, here we go?
Yeah, I mean, so those were the two that I was not planning on doing. And then I'm pretty sure the next one was the one in Mountain Creek, New Jersey. And the reason why it was so important to say that Mountain Creek, New Jersey one was the one I signed up for first is a nor'easter actually happened that weekend that we raced. So we completed that race, so the 7 to 9 miles, during a nor'easter. They had to shut some of the water obstacles by the time we got to them because it was so cold. It was it was just the worst experience. And I feel like if that was my first Spartan race, I might have had a different trajectory after that, because that was just a lot of different, because there's still elevation. Mountain Creek is still a ski resort similar to Killington, not as bad as Killington, but there's still elevation. So just adding the factor of the weather that day, it was so bad. But I think since I had the 2 races before, and the weather was perfect for the West Point race, it was perfect for Killington, it was beautiful. I think knowing that there were better days and there were days where the weather would be perfect, it kept me interested and wanting to continue doing more.
It's kind of like the flap of a butterfly wing, right? I mean, that one decision to just jump in and do Killington. Imagine if you didn't make that, like you said. You know, we may not be sitting here today. You might not be a part of the on-run crew, whatever, right?
That's true.
Yeah. So, I mean, everyone has seen the Ninja Warrior on TV, and everyone knows someone who's done a Tough Mudder or who's done a Spartan race. So with the Spartan race, at least from my understanding, you could correct me if I'm wrong here, but the Spartan races are more for like competition, right? It's like timed and it's like an actual race, whereas the Tough Mudders are more like you just do it, or am I wrong there?
Well, so I've never done a Tough Mudder, but I think there are some Tough Mudders where they're more lap based, so you still can kind of come out on top and like win. And I think they would give different maybe jerseys to the winners or something. They do it a little bit different, but I think that is more focused. Tough Mudder is more focused around endurance, whereas Spartan has more just like their single courses. You're not doing multiple loops of courses like Tough Mudder does, except for like the Spartan Ultra World Championship, where it's a 24-hour race and you just do as many laps in 24 hours. But that's just like,
that's the thing.
Yeah,
Oh
that's the thing.
What the hell is wrong with people, man? It's nuts.
Yeah.
Wow. So, is there a lot of crossover between like CrossFit athletes and OCR? Like, like the people who compete in the CrossFit games? Are there a lot of those people that compete in obstacle course racing?
I think there's a handful from each. So during quarantine and everything, when there wasn't racing, Spartan actually put on this whole Spartan Games type thing, and they brought in some CrossFitters. They had some of the Spartan pros and others. They even had someone from American Ninja Warrior on as well. Nice. Just kind of competing at Joe DeSena's ranch up in Vermont. And so you could actually see like the CrossFitters were actually pretty good from like the strength standpoint, obstacle standpoint. I think the only thing that is challenging for some of them is the endurance to make it on some of the longer courses, because Spartan has the sprint, which is like 3 to 5 miles, the super, which I think they changed the distances, but around 7, the beast, which is 13. And then they have the Spartan ultras, which are 30 miles. I've done 3 of those.
Wow.
And yeah, so those are like the key ones for Spartan. So I think it'd be hard to see like CrossFitters doing some of the longer distances.
That's incredible. So Joe DeSena, you just mentioned that name, and that rattled a memory out of my head. Is he the inventor or creator of Spartan races, or?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, because he was on Rogan, I think.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, okay. So he was an interest. I think he's from New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken, originally, or maybe he's from Vermont. I don't know, but
I don't know.
As soon as you said like the ranch thing, that's what triggered my memory, because I remember him talking about that. He does with a lot of kids and stuff too, right? I think it's like kids go up there and he whips them into shape.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's training like for what you do? Do you have a coach? Do you follow a plan? How do you get ready for these races?
So for OCR, I did not have a coach or anything. So I guess what I will say is I haven't done an obstacle course race since 2019, since the end of 2019 at this point. And I've really been focusing more on Ninja from last May onwards, so like the last 11 months. So when I was training for obstacle course races, I did not have a coach or anything. I probably should have had a running coach during that time. And I think maybe I would still be really into the whole running thing. Right now, I kind of took a step back from running, just focusing on Ninja. But right now, I currently do have a coach for Ninja who I work with.
What's their name? Who are they?
So it's David Wright, the Cake Ninja. So a lot of people have seen him on last season. He's really awesome, really inspiring, and he really pushes me in training, and he makes me conquer my fears for better or for worse. But it's always a lot of fun, and I get a lot out of training with him.
Shout out to David Wright, the Cake Ninja. What's up, David? So wait, what you said he was on? Wait, you said last season. What's that mean?
So last year, season 12 of American Ninja Warrior. Right now they're filming season 13.
So he was on the show.
Yeah. Yep. He's been on the show a couple of seasons. He was also on All Stars. So if anyone watched All Stars, he was on the yellow team, the rookie team, that aired last year too, I believe.
So this dude's legit, huh?
Yeah. Yep. And a lot of people at my gym, at Jungle Gym in St. Pete, Florida, we have a lot of top names. So Caleb Bergstrom, Katie Bergstrom, we have Charity Grace, the Mermaid Ninja. So we have so many awesome people. Ashley McConville. So she hit the buzzer last season. So she's incredible.
And when you say hit the buzzer, that's like when they get to the top of the tower and like, I'm finished. Like that's the
in qualifiers. So it was qualifiers before semifinals. So wow, it was really inspiring. It was amazing watching her hit that.
Well, and I'm sure being around these people too has just got to be really just holy shit. Like this is what I'm trying to be, and you're right here in front of me, right?
Yeah, wow, they're so awesome.
Cool. Wow, that's really cool. So, as far as the Ninja Warrior stuff goes, like I know, like I have you up here as like an OCR athlete. I didn't know what like. Do you call yourself? What do you call yourself? Like, how do you categorize yourself? Like, what do Ninja War? Are you a Ninja Warrior? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, so I guess I would say I'm a ninja. But ninja is so weird because like ninja can mean different things. But that's just how we call ourselves, ninjas. But just because I stopped doing OCR doesn't mean I'm going to permanently stop. I feel like it could still be in my future. So I feel like I could still classify myself as that too.
Yeah, well, you sound a lot like me in the sense that I wish I could live like 45 different lives because I want to do so many different things, and there's just so many hours in a day. And this is something that really intrigues me. So when I saw your videos and your posts and stuff, I selfishly just want to talk to you because I'm really interested. I want to get into it. When I reached out to you and we were talking about kind of back and forth about the Frisco location here. I live in Frisco Square, and can you explain to me a little bit about like, is it similar to like CrossFit gyms? You know what I mean? Where there's branded CrossFit gyms across the country, like official Reebok, gyms. Is that how like these gyms work, or you said like this is a specific kind? Or just go into that a little bit because I just want to try to understand that.
Sure. So I think CrossFit is different because I think in order to participate in like the CrossFit games and stuff, you have to be at a certified CrossFit gym in order to submit results, I think. But for ninja type of stuff, it's just kind of like going to a regular gym. Like it's not a regular gym, but you kind of go there to train, and then there's different competitions, and there's a couple of leagues. I think COVID kind of slowed or shut down some of the leagues. So the only one I've done competitions in right now is the National Ninja League. And so there's specific gyms that can hold NNL competitions, not all of them, because you have to, I think, follow certain protocols or be ready to do certain things. But you can ultimately go to any gym to train. There's never anything that you're doing kind of like in your gym that someone's judging and submitting. You're kind of just going and traveling to the competition at a different gym and competing alongside other people.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Sense. So my boy Danny, I had him on the show a couple weeks ago. He played professional baseball. He got drafted by the Diamondbacks. And, I, as you know, I'm a triathlete. And the two of us are just kind of maniacs together. You know what I mean? It was kind of like we met here in Texas. He's from California. I'm from New York. And, we just kind of, it was like lightning in a bottle when we met each other. So we're just constantly like challenging each other. We're going swimming tomorrow at 6 a.m. and then we're doing sprints together. So it's just constantly nonsense with the two of us. And when I mentioned that you were going to be on the show, he was just like, dude, I'm in, when I found the gym like across the street from us here. So what's the process of like joining a gym like that? Like, do you just walk in and just say, hey, I want to, You know what I mean? Like I'm a member at a gym where I just go work out every day. Like I worked out right before I came here. Do you have to schedule times that you go to the gym, or is it like open, or how does that work?
So usually ninja gyms will have set times for open gym, and then they'll have set times for classes because it's really hard. You can't really have classes during open gym. It just would not work out nicely. I've been to 3 different ninja gyms so far, and all of them have specific open gym hours. And then Jungle Gym requires an intro class before you're able to go to an open gym. So they teach different things on how to fall appropriately, because if you're doing ninja the right way, you should be falling. And so knowing how to fall is really important. But that's just something that you need to kind of look at their websites beforehand if they say you need to go in for the class first. But I do recommend if the gyms do have intro classes, even if they're not required, I would say to go. Because they're really helpful to do that. And then I go to both open gyms. So open gyms are typically after work and on Saturdays. And then there's also an adult ninja class every Wednesday. So that was the reason I could not be on your podcast on a Wednesday, because I do the classes every Wednesday.
No, listen, I was just thrilled that you wanted to be on here. So I would have, if you were like midnight on Saturday, I mean, I don't care. Okay, that's really interesting. Yeah, because if I just went, I'd break my face immediately because I'm just like, vastly overestimate my athletic abilities and would just immediately destroy myself. But when you go to these gyms, like, because I wouldn't even know what to do. Like, if they were just like, all right, here you go, have at it, I'd be like, what? Like, is there a specific, I guess, like, I don't know how to ask this question. Like in triathlon, because that's my world, that's what I know. I know that every race is a swim and then a bike and then a run. There's no difference. It's that. In your races, they're different, right? Like it's different obstacles or hurdles or whatever you want to call them, stations. So
right.
How do you, like, when you go to a gym, how do you know what to train for? Like going into the competition that you just did you know what the events were going to be, or you show up in the day of and you're like, okay, well, I guess we're doing this one today?
Yeah, so with competitions, you usually find out the day before. Like they'll release a video, you'll see stuff,
so you don't know what? That's wild.
Right, yeah, and sometimes there have been competitions where we don't know until we get there, and then they do the course walkthrough, and then you get to see the obstacles there. But typically, so like for the regionals competition that I competed in 2 weekends ago, they posted the video the night before. So if you want to, you could look the night before if you'll still be able to sleep after. Otherwise, you could wait till the morning. But then you kind of are able to see each of the obstacles, and then you can think of a game plan based on things you've done in the past in training. So for example, you might not have done the same exact setup that they've had, but you've done different pieces of it, and then you can kind of relate the two. I'm just trying to think if there's something.
So it's like skill sets. You have these specific skill sets that, kind of applied to different obstacles, whether or not you've done it before. You know that you have the ability to do it because you've done these similar exercises in your personal gym before.
Yeah, basically, because it's kind of training movements and techniques. So if you know how to move your body in a certain way, it doesn't really matter what you're moving to, as long as you know you got to catch something with a mixed grip, or you need to, step on something a certain way. So these are all things that you kind of have to apply, even if you haven't done the exact same setup.
Okay. No, that makes sense. So I'd like to talk to you about now kind of your process, because I mentioned it in the opener and we kind of alluded to it, but your recent qualification for the World Championships, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
I don't give a shit what you're doing. If you qualify for World Championships, you're doing something right, and that's pretty damn impressive. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You deserve it. So when you qualifying for the World Championships, what specifically does that mean? What did you have to do to get there? And then what does that mean? What's the next step with that?
Sure. So for the National Ninja League, there's these standings online. There's a lot of different competitions. I forget how many there are, but it's definitely a lot. I know there's some people who are in my division, which is the adult female division. I think they've done like 11 competitions, and So that's mainly just in one region, I think, or maybe a couple in a different region. And so you get points depending on your placement for each competition, and those points add up, and then there's standings at the end of the season. Now, one way to qualify for Worlds is if you are top 5 in terms of points in your region. So I'm in the Southeast region, and I did not qualify by points. So there were 5 women who did qualify, so the 5 at the top of the leaderboard, basically. So it does, if you're good and you do a lot of competitions, you most likely will be at the top of the standing. So they don't take an average or anything. It just is what it is. If you do the most comps, even if you don't place well, if you do enough to still get more points, then you're at the top.
So if I go to one competition, it gets 6 points, but someone else goes to 10 of them, it gets 1 point at each one of those 10 points will be better than my 6 points at that one competition.
Right.
So
exactly.
Okay, so is there a minimum number of events that you have to go to in order to qualify? Like, is there like a 3 minimum or something like that, or is it just open season?
No, so I guess the first step is qualifying for regionals, and to qualify for regionals, I forget. I think you have to podium at one of the just regional qualifiers. And so my first event, I came second place, so I qualified immediately for regionals.
And those have to be like a sanctioned event. It's not like, hey, I put this event out in my backyard and some strangers came out. Like it's, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be an NNL certified approved event. And so if you're top 3, then you qualify for regionals. And then, so at this point, a couple of weeks ago, everyone was qualified for regionals if they placed accordingly. And then those 5 women at the top already qualified for Worlds. So they didn't even have to go to regionals. If they didn't want to go to regionals, they didn't have to. And so at regionals, basically the top 5 in terms of placement at regionals would move on to Worlds. Now, if there's already someone in that top 5 who has qualified through point standings, then it's kind of a roll down. And so I was really lucky because I placed 6th at regionals, and there were 2 women ahead of me who already qualified. So myself in 6th place and the 7th place female, we both qualified for Worlds.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. That's not lucky.
Yeah.
You deserved it. It's
yeah.
What's funny is the same thing happened to me last year with triathlon. You have to come in the top 10 in the country in your age group, and I came in 11th, so by like 10 seconds, and I was like,
oh no,
oh my god, I was on the verge of just breaking down. And then luckily one of the guys in front of me, actually 2 of the guys in front of me, like you, they aged up because the world championships are the next year, so it's your age when that happens, so they aged out, so I wound up coming in 9th place. Then I was like, yeah, let's go. That's really cool. So then the World Championships, what does that mean for you now? Now, where is it? And, I mean, are you going to go? Obviously, you made it, but, that's the decision, right, that you have to make?
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to go. It's toward the end of June, so I think June 27th, and it's in New Jersey. And I'm originally from upstate New York, so it's really exciting because my dad's going to come drive down to watch me there.
Oh, that's incredible. So, that's so cool. What part of upstate New York are you from?
Utica, well, outside of Utica, so it's near Syracuse.
No, I'm from Buffalo, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're both people that left and went south. I went to Texas, you went to Florida.
Yeah.
That's really cool, though. That's in what part of New Jersey did you say that is?
So it's in Lawrence, New Jersey, so I think it's right on the border of New Jersey and Pennsylvania, but like central Jersey.
Okay, cool. Yeah, something that I want to do too, like the whole point of everything that I'm doing here is I want to create a community where it's not like I talk to you and then, all right, see ya, that was good. I want to continue to promote the people that I talk to so they can kind of follow your journey. So after the show, if you're listening, in the show notes, I'll put your social media channels. And then as you do these events, make sure you post about them. I'll repost them. And we're going to have people that want to watch, or want to see your progress. Is there a way to... Do they stream it at all, or do they do like? Is there any way to watch it live as you do it?
They actually do. So on the National Ninja League Facebook page, and they actually have all the events live. So if it's National Ninja League, it will always be live on Facebook. So if you head to their Facebook page on a weekend, chances are you'll find at least some competition being filmed. So I've been bored some weekends, so I'll just like see what's happening and watch a couple runs of whatever competition is happening. So it's pretty cool to do that.
Steph, I got to tell you, you got me jacked up right now. I want to get into this. I'm not lying. My fiance is out here. I can just feel her going, oh my God, he doesn't need another obsession. But this is like super intriguing to me. So having said that, what is like when you go to your gym, is there like an age range that you know normally? Because I went to the website here in Frisco immediately after I saw that it was here. I'm just like, and I saw like a bunch of kids. Obviously, there's adults doing it too. Is there like a certain age range that you see people doing it?
I think there's definitely more kids and teens right now who are getting into it than older. I say older adults, but I'm in that group, I would say.
I mean, I'm
a lot of the people.
So I'm 34, so yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot of kids, and then a decent mix of adults. But for adults, we mainly just see the regulars from week to week at open gym.
So when you qualify, is it just open age? Like there's no age groups? It's just, you go, and if you're in the top women, it's just women and men, or how does that work?
So I think so adult female and adult male divisions, I think it's 18 and up. And then there's a masters for each as well. I think masters is like 40 and up. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. And then for people who who feel a little more advanced, they can compete elite. And I think elite is maybe 15 and up, so any age above 15. And then for the younger groups of people, I think there's different age groups like preteens, young adults, teens. So they kind of really break that up too.
So what you're telling me is I'm in no man's land. I'm 34. I got to compete against the 18-year-olds, but the 40-year-olds get their own. What is that nonsense?
Yeah, so you'll have to wait 6 years.
Damn it. Okay, well I got 6 years to practice before I'm with the old people, so that's good. So that's really cool. So what's on the horizon for you? The Worlds are in June. Do you like? You mentioned season. Right, and I know you're in Florida, so when does it get
Seasons
cold?
don't exist here.
Right, exactly. But what's a typical like race season? When you mentioned that earlier, what's that in reference to?
Well, so the season I was referencing is just for the National Ninja League season. It kind of starts in the fall, and I think typically it ends kind of late spring. But because of COVID, they're extending it. So I think technically there will be kind of from June to October without any league competitions. And so I think that's going to be when I really focus on what I want to do next year, whether I want to stay in the adult female division or move up. And really just kind of continue honing in on a lot of things. So right now I'm in my 11th month of training. I feel like I still have a long ways to go, but I have made some progress on fears. I get scared of a lot of things. I get in my head so much. So I want to just really continue working on those fears. And like I said, working with David, the Cake Ninja, he's really helped me start conquering those fears, but still a long way to go, but I'm really excited and I really love the training every day.
Well, you're an athlete. There's a balance I think you have to strike. There's definitely, you don't want to be scared of your own shadow, but at the same time, I think fear is a good driver. It's if you go into a race or any competition that you're a chess match, whatever you're doing, if you're not scared a little bit, it makes you feel a little alive. That's really, I think, where that adrenaline, and going back to that book I told you I was reading, something that he mentions is with fear, you may hear an elite athlete say, instead of, you're never going to hear Michael Jordan say, I'm scared before a game, right? You are going to hear him say, I'm pumped, I'm jacked up, I'm ready to go, I'm fired, let's do this. That's just a manifestation, like a realization of acknowledging that fear, understanding is present, but moving past it, and that's where that fearless concept comes into play. So, I'm with you. I struggle a lot. Like, I don't know if you want to call it like performance anxiety, but before a race, I lose my mind. Like I get crazy, you know?
Yeah.
So what's I'm really interested to hear about, like, I know you said you gave me like your training regimen, like, you know, Wednesdays, and what were the other days that you do? And I'm sorry.
So I usually train with David on Mondays and Fridays, and then I do the ninja class Wednesdays, and then I try to go to open gym Tuesday, and then do leg stuff on Thursdays. But then one thing that has kind of been a struggle over the last month is really balancing training with work. My days have kind of moved to 10 to 11 hour work days. And so it's really hard to manage that and then add training onto that. So that I feel like that's going to be an interesting thing to factor in this year as I'm getting more busier. I'm kind of gearing up for the next level at work too. So it's really trying to give my 100% to two different things. And I think that's always kind of a challenge when you feel like you only have 100% to give. How can you give 200%?
I feel you there. I try to give 100% in like 50 different things. So yeah, I definitely understand what you're talking about. Damn work. It's always getting in the way, isn't it? Why can't you just do this full time, right?
Yep.
I'm always thinking that. So in addition to your training that you do at the gym, and you mentioned, so David's local. He's not someone that you work with. Virtually. He's at your.
Yep,
gym.
I meet with him. Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. That's awesome. So you got hooked up with him just by, like, what came first? Did you go to the gym and then meet him there, or did he tell you go to this gym? We'll work together here.
Okay, yeah. So I can cover that. So I started going to Jungle Gym last May, and I was just going to open gym. So I did the intro class, but I didn't do any classes or anything. I was just kind of going. I was really nervous that first night because I didn't know anyone. I was talking to a couple of people through Instagram, but I felt like they all knew each other. They all have been training. I'm going to be, the weird one or not know how to do anything. But I quickly made friends, and, everyone at the gym, they've kind of become like family. It's really awesome. I can't imagine leaving this area because they're all just so awesome, and going there is amazing. But so I was just going to open gyms kind of up until, I would say, October. And that's when I talked to Caleb, which is the head trainer at Jungle Gym. His dad actually owns the gym and runs the gym as well. And so I was talking to both of them, and I really wanted to start training, and they thought David and I would be a good fit. And I started training with him in October, and that was when I started with the National Ninja League competitions as well. And then shortly after that, I started doing the Wednesday night classes, and that has been amazing. Just the camaraderie and training with people who I usually don't train with at open gym, plus having the guidance of the coach. So that's Cameron Drake, who leads those classes, and he's an amazing coach. So it's been a lot of fun working with him on Wednesdays as well.
That's exciting. And I think, this is just a personal observation, but I think this day and age, you have so many people that I think it's innate in us to be tribal. We always wanted to, like, if you just ask someone, how do you identify? Think about that. You can get a bazillion different questions. They could say, I'm a Democrat. I am transgender. I'm black. However you identify yourself, people want to look for tribes, right?
Right.
And I think that there's too many people nowadays that identify with things that aren't really, like, identifiable. I know it sounds weird to say it, but, like, if I just, like, am on social media yelling about politics all day long, that's not doing anything for your health, But someone like you, who's like, you're working your ass off at work, but outside of that, you have this tribe at your gym, and there's no politics, there's no race, there's no divisiveness, there's none of that stuff. It's when you're in that gym, you guys are all, you're part of that community. I mean, we're all pulling the same way, we're rolling the same way, however you want to say it. And that feeling, I think, is contagious. I think that bleeds over to your day-to-day life. I mean, I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I don't know.
I definitely agree with that. And it's funny because before I started getting into, I guess kickboxing kind of started it, but before kickboxing, I would classify myself as being more of a loner. Like, I didn't really have many friends. I didn't really get out and do too much. I'd get a lot of, like, anxiety in social situations if I would go out, and experience things for the first time. And I think as I've gotten older and experienced more, I guess through work too, I've been more comfortable kind of putting myself out there and meeting more people and doing things. And it's just crazy because looking back, it's those situations where I put myself out there when I didn't know anyone and kind of stuck with it that have just led to where I'm at now. And I'm the happiest. I'm really stressed with work, but I am the happiest I've been in a really long time, just given everything around me and everything that I'm accomplishing, both in Ninja and at my job too. I'm a manager on this global project right now, and it's been really stressful, but really rewarding. And I think just part of my experiences with OCR and Ninja over the last couple of years have really helped me with work as well, to be more flexible, more open-minded, more lenient with other people, just because I have those situations outside of work where I'm spending a lot of time with people and really getting to understand, how other people feel in different situations and how to navigate different situations.
I love that. And I mean, it's very similar to the conversation I had last night with Lauren, but that's great. I mean, life is really all about getting other people's perspectives and understanding why people think the way that they do, and understanding, and together that's how you move forward, so that's and just think about that too. 4 years is really all you've been doing this for. I mean, you're still going to be young in 4 more years, but think about where you'll be in 4 years, and then 4 years from there. I love this idea of, and I didn't really experience this either until my late 20s, where I just was just it's a mind shift. It was a monumental mind shift. I'm just you know what, I'm going to be a lot more open to new opportunities and pushing myself and bucking the status quo, because I'm sure, how many times do you get called crazy? Let me ask you that. Do your friends call you crazy?
Actually, no.
Well,
because I think we all are as crazy crazy is normal for us, I think.
Right.
So
what I'm getting at is the people that don't do it, right? A lot of none of my friends do triathlon. I have triathlon friends, but their friends I grew up with, or back home or whatever, they're you're nuts. Why are you doing this every day? You're crazy. And I wear that as a badge of honor. When someone tells me that I'm crazy, to me, I'm just that's awesome. I love being different. I love being motivational. I love pushing. You know what I mean? Do you feel that at all?
Yeah.
When someone calls you crazy, or when someone hears what you do and just goes, what?
Yeah. I definitely feel the same, but it's just kind of almost like a compliment when people say that you're crazy or think you're crazy for what you do, because it means you're doing something right, I guess.
That's right. I love it, because that means you're not the norm. My worst fear, I think it's a Schwarzenegger quote, is he said, my worst fear in life is being average. And I think that's just that's what drives me. I know that. I never want to be average in anything that I do. And, it's my biggest motivation, but it's also my biggest failure too, because I try to be really good at everything I do. And like you said, 100% effort. You only have 100% if you're trying to give 100% to a million different things,
Right.
Yeah, you're going to burn yourself out. So outside of, the jungle gym and, ninja training and all that kind of stuff, do you do any type of, I know you said the running's kind of been put on hiatus. Do you do any type of strength training or weightlifting or anything like that, aside from, your gym sessions at, the jungle gym?
Yeah. So the funny thing is, I've never really been into the whole weight training thing. So I guess I do more body weight stuff. So I'll do pull-ups. I need to do a lot more push-ups. I don't really do push-ups, but push-ups are really good for those who are into Ninja, because we do so much pulling. So push-ups are the key to staying healthy. But I definitely can. Yeah, exactly. And I could get better with that. But ultimately right now with my work schedule, I just don't have the time and energy to kind of add on. There was a point where I was doing some ab circuits at home a few mornings a week and things like that. But I think anything people can do, even if it's just a 15-minute workout or 20-minute workout, it's super beneficial.
Very cool. Now, I did want to ask you, on top of everything that you have going on as an athlete and everything that you have going on, with work, on top of all that, you're a regional lead for On, right?
Yes.
So just for those listening, I, became, as you know, everybody should know by now, all I do is talk about On. I'm obsessed with the brand, and I became an ambassador for them, a part of their ambassador program called the On Run Crew. We're in a Facebook, kind of like a private Facebook group where we all talk to each other, and that is where I met Steph. And then within the ambassadorship, you have kind of leaders within that group, and Steph is one said leader. So what does that involve? I don't even know. How did you get that, and what does that mean?
I don't even know how I got it. But so I've been, so this is my third year as part of the On Run crew. And so I've been on the crew for 2 years. I actually found the brand after I did that Killington Spartan race. I went to the New York City Marathon Expo. I was running an ASICS at the time, and I saw this brand that had such a weird logo. So I was like, let me see what they're all about. And I tried the shoes. I tried their Cloud Surfers, which Cloud Surfers, that's my ninja shoe of choice. I wear it pretty much every day. And I discovered the brand, and then I started wearing their trail shoe, the Cloud Ventures, for Spartan races in 2019. So in 2019, I raced a lot. I did like 30 obstacle course races. And so that was all I wore. And that's how I became an ambassador that year. I put in my application based on the trail running. And I think the whole obstacle course racing thing caught their eye. And that's how I met Jake, and really had a really successful experience being on the crew the last 2 years, always wearing the brand. I really love the shoes. I have more shoes than I can count from On at this point. Yeah. And then this year, I got the acceptance email to be part of the crew for the third year. I was really excited. I was kind of nervous. I don't really know why I was nervous, because I feel like I did a pretty good job last year, but you're always nervous about things when someone has a chance to say no. Mm-hmm. And then shortly after, I got this email saying I was selected as a lead. So I didn't apply or anything to be a lead. It kind of just happened. And right now, we're just kind of working with Jake, who's heading the whole program, coming up with different ways that we can help make the ambassador experience a positive one. So one of the things I've done for my group of ambassadors down in the Southeast, we've created a WhatsApp group, and we're just kind of staying connected. We did a couple of fun reels to celebrate the Cloud Ace and the Ekiden Relay and Team Spirit last week. So that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah, I reached out to you when I saw it at the end of that video. I'm like, was that you?
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's what I love about it too is, I came maybe with the wrong misconception. I thought when I got accepted, I was like, okay, it'll just be a bunch of runners, but it's a bunch of people from all walks of life and doing all kinds of different things. So that's what I found that's why I was like, I'd love to interview some of you people, because you guys do such cool stuff and you're all over the board. It's not like I'm interviewing a marathon runner every week. You know what I mean? It's, people like you. And I had Mandy on a couple weeks ago that, she's an ultra runner, and she's like, yeah, I just decided to run 100 miles once, and I did it in less than 24 hours, but I didn't think that was a big deal. I didn't know. And I'm like, what? So it's just, I'm very excited to, start to network and meet these people. And like you said, us in the Central, we're in a Instagram group chat too. So yeah, we stay connected as well. But yeah, looking forward to, maybe meet you in person someday at an event or something.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I know Jake's been talking about that, trying to get the whole On Run crew together eventually. So we'll see if that can happen.
That'd be freaking cool. Do you ever come to Texas at all? Are there any big events in Texas?
So actually, back when work travel was a thing, we have a campus in Dallas, a corporate campus. So that's the only time I've really been in Texas. So I think I've been there at least 5 times at this point around Dallas.
What part of Dallas, do you know?
Westlake.
Oh, yeah. So that's right. That's where Frisco is. It's north of
Dallas.
Okay. Yeah. So
okay.
It's maybe 40 minutes for me. But yeah, next time you go, you have to let me know.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Yeah.
Yeah. We can get a run and take some pics. Hashtag On Run Crew.
Definitely.
So I'll tell you what, Steph, we are about an hour in here. So I think it's a good time to stop. But I always like to just ask, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you think, you wanted to touch on? Like I told you, you were nervous. I don't know why you were nervous. We talked for an hour, just random stuff we talked about. But is there anything that you came prepared to talk about that we didn't? Or, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to reiterate just to anyone watching, like, if you feel like your life is in kind of a rut and you're just going through the motions every day, because that's pretty much how I lived my life from 2014 to 2017. I would say just try doing something new and just go for it. And it's going to be super uncomfortable if you're trying something new for the first time. I was uncomfortable when I did kickboxing, when I did my first obstacle course race, when I walked into that ninja gym, but I think, walking into that jungle gym last May and starting ninja, it has really been even more life-changing than OCR was, a couple years before that. And I thought OCR was life-changing. And so just constantly doing these new things and finding new passions, or even just kind of slightly tweaking things, because OCR and ninja is not that much different. The difference is just you lose the running with ninja. So I just would encourage anyone to don't be afraid and go out and try something new, because you never know what path that could lead you down.
You could be the poster person for this show, because that is exactly like, I can't tell you how many times I've said that, but in different ways and not as articulate because I'm a moron. That is great though, and I think you're 100% right. I mean, for me, I played football. I played arena football in Buffalo, and I knew I wanted to stay competitive. I'm a very competitive person, and I found like running 5Ks. That's all I did. That's how I started. It was by accident at a job that I had. They do a corporate challenge back in Buffalo. Like, the corporate challenge is this like huge. I think there's like 13,000 people that run this race. It is huge for Buffalo, And not huge for New York City or whatever, but it's this huge event where all the corporate entities in the area come together, and they each have tents in like our central park, it's called Delaware Park, and that was the first race I ever did, and it was a 5K, and to me that was just like the hardest thing I'd ever freaking done in my life, and just that minor step in just saying, you know what, I'm gonna do this, what the hell, has led me to competing for Team USA, in sprint triathlon. I mean, those are connected, which is a wild thing to think about. And the same thing with you, like you said, I was very similar, just kind of going through the motions, and it's easy to sleepwalk through life, and I think the term comfort zone is a mislabel of what that is, because you're not comfortable, because you're always like, what ifing? Do you know what I mean? Like, I never want a what if, and that's why I'm obsessed with so many different things, because like, I don't just have one passion. I have like a bazillion freaking. I freaking took magic lessons a couple months ago. All right, like, I'm nuts.
That's cool.
Yeah, if you come to Dallas, I can do some magic tricks for you.
Okay.
But yeah, I think what you just said is like nail on the head. Just start. That's all you have to do is start, and then one door is going to open up to other doors and to other. Honestly, like in 2017 when you took your first step to go, you started kickboxing, right? Like that's how this all started.
Yeah, it is. And
then in June, your father is going to watch you compete in the World Championships for Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
I mean,
yep.
Come on. Those are not, like, that's, who'd have thought when you walked into the door for the first kickboxing class that this is where you'd wind up? So I think you're exactly what you said. You walk the walk, but you talk the talk, but you also walk the walk. And I think you're very inspirational, and that's why I wanted to have you on the show. And I didn't even know your whole backstory. I just knew what you were doing now, which is really cool. But even more badass. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
You're welcome. Well, I hope I didn't make you too nervous beforehand, but it's over. So go take a deep breath, drink a glass of wine, whatever you got to do. But thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. We're going to have all of her links in the show notes, and we'll be, as we approach that World Championship, she's going to be in New Jersey. We'll start reposting the links so you can watch her live, all right?